Hey YouTube, what's up? It's your boy Sean Austin again from Sean's Rabbit Train Aquaponic Produce, and we back with another rabbit farming video for you guys today. Now you saw the thumbnail. Today we're talking about stock count and why that's important. So stay tuned and we'll be back with more right after the intro. Okay guys, we're back. Now today we're talking about stock count, but as you would have seen in the previous clip, I also had I had 16 nest boxes to put in this morning, so I decided to deal with that first. Just as a side note, you may or may not have seen in the clip there, but even at the stage of being ready to put in a nest box, I still do a quick palpate before I place the box, even though they would have been confirmed pregnant 14 days earlier approximately when I palpated. The reason for that is there is a possibility sometimes that a doe can abort a litter, or in some cases even reabsorb the litter. So even though they were confirmed pregnant at palpation, there is still a chance that they may not kindle at the noted due date. So it's helpful and time saving obviously to still do a quick palpate before placing the nest box. Right? That's just something that crossed my mind while I was doing it, and I don't know if I ever mentioned it before, so I'll mention it one time. Okay, so now today's topic is going to be a quick one. We're talking about stock count. Now if you follow our channel, let's say a couple months ago, I did a video where I spoke about my collaboration with the Central Statistical Office with the view of quantifying the amount of rabbits that are being produced in Trinidad and Tobago. The reason for that is because they are trying to stimulate certain collaborations and investments from government entities. But before that could happen, they have to show or prove that there's actually an industry. What you would know if you go to their website and you look up rabbit production, the figures there as compared to all the other meats on the market is almost unreadable. When you look at it on a pie chart, there isn't even a big enough slice to represent the amount of rabbits that are being produced. Now I don't believe that that's a true representation of rabbit production. It's just that it's not being recorded. Hence the reason I encouraged a number of persons, and I still encourage you, if you are interested in being a part of the survey, because it's going to help the entire industry, contact me directly and I will forward you on to the relevant person who will set you up with your stock count card and all of that and help you, walk you through the process. And it's not any laborious task, it's done quarterly. So once every 3 months you do a head count of your rabbitry, know how many were born, how many died, and this is information you're supposed to have already anyway if you're doing record keeping, if you're doing proper record keeping. It's not anything new that you have to add, it's just to copy the information you already have onto the required card, and the information will then be forwarded to the relevant person and tabulated and whatnot. So guys, I implore you, it's really important that we get this data. So reach out to me, let me put you on to the guy, and we could get this thing going for the betterment of everyone. Right, now as we're talking stock count, there are just a few things that I need to mention, because apart from the fact that we want to get government backing for the industry, for your own personal production goals, a stock count is also important. It's just basic record keeping, which we've been promoting on this channel from day one. We always talk about the importance of record keeping. With the use of this stock count, you will also be able to track your own personal growth as a rabbit farmer. Okay, you started off with X amount of does, X amount of bucks. You start producing, they produce X amount of kits, and if you are growing towards commercial production, those numbers should be gradually increasing all the time. Not so much the bucks, because in our case we do mostly artificial insemination, so we have had the same buck count for the last couple of years now. That hasn't increased until, well, I have a few replacement bucks coming up behind that are probably going to replace some of these older guys, but at this point they are still producing and producing well, because we do sperm analysis and things like that. So we haven't had any reason as yet to replace them, because they're still producing and they have good genetics. So, but your doe count should be gradually increasing if you want to increase production. You must bring in more does, and as you bring in more does, gradually your kit count, fryer count, all of that will be gradually increasing as well, including number of rabbits processed for market. Now with this kind of information, now you would be encouraged to go on, because you will be seeing the growth. If you're just keeping rabbits, you don't have a true picture of what's really happening. So it's easy to get discouraged at times if you lose a few rabbits here and there. But if you look at your numbers and you realize, hey, a few rabbits died, but it didn't really make a big impact, it was like 0.01% of my production, then you're going to be encouraged, because you are going to lose rabbits along the way. There's no if, buts, or maybes about that. As long as you're into animal husbandry, any type of animal, you are going to have deaths, unexpected deaths, as well as some that you may have to put down for various reasons, even though you may not necessarily want to. So that's just all part of the process. But your stock count is going to be a guide for you to stay on track in terms of your progressive growth as a rabbit producer. Okay, but since we on record keeping yet again, and we're talking about stock count, now I'll give you a personal experience. If you, as long as your farm reaches a certain size, there is no way that you can do all the work for yourself. You might think so, or you might say, hey, I could save that money by doing it myself. No. The work is going to become so overwhelming, you may end up quitting the business entirely. So let's not be penny wise and pound foolish, as they say here in Trinidad and Tobago. Sometimes you have to pay someone to help you. It's just too much work. However, with that in mind, you know they say when you have more than one cook in the kitchen, something somewhere along the line is go wrong. Someone makes a mistake, someone does something that someone else did already. You know, now communication is key. But as long as you have persons working for you, you have to expect that from time to time you may have a few instances of human error. Because even on my part, sometimes I make a mistake. But because of the amount of time that I spend in the rabbitry, a lot of the times these errors are discovered quickly and corrected. Now, this may not always be the case when you have other persons working for you. So, stock count is also a perfect time for you to double check that all of your rabbits are in their assigned cages. It might sound silly, guys, you have to forgive me. I have a couple roosters in the background there. I don't know if the alarm clock is off, but it's now 8 something in the morning, and bear with me. Okay, so talking about the stock count and the placing of rabbits in the wrong cages. Now this is something that happens more often than you would believe, because a lot of the times and it's just sometimes it's just simple miscommunication, so sometimes you need to repeat the instruction more than once, because I would say bring the rabbit from cage 15 to someone else it might sound like cage 16, 1.6 instead of 1.5. So sometimes I have to be sure and say, hey, cage 15, 1.5, you know, and things like that. There have also been instances when we've been doing some natural breeding, and when they go to return the female back to her cage, they take up the male instead. And then you're wondering, hey, why is there a doe in a cage where there's supposed to be a buck? You know, so then you have to go back to check the record to see what doe you would have bred with that specific buck, so you will know the possible cage where the buck was placed by mistake. So then you have to switch them back. This is something that has happened on quite a few occasions, but like I say, once you're keeping records, they're quickly discovered and you could always track it back to its origin and have it corrected. So the stock count, again, for me, is the perfect time to make sure that everyone is in their assigned cages. Now, if you're doing mixed breed rabbits, colored rabbits, and you have different patterns and whatnot, sometimes it's a lot easier to differentiate rabbit from rabbit, because they have different color patterns and you may have nice fancy names for them and whatnot if they're your pets and all of that. But when you start going or growing into commercial production, especially if you're doing one or two specific breeds like we do, only New Zealand Whites and Californians, then there's a higher chance of error, because all of the rabbits are the same color and most of them are the same size. They look quite similar in body type and shape and things like that, especially the females. So, you know, sometimes you may be able to look at a rabbit and say, ah, that looks like a buck. You know, maybe sometimes, but not all the time. And especially amongst the females, sometimes the majority of them look exactly the same. So you have to be able to differentiate. So as we're on that, I'll mention tattooing one time. That tattooing is an important part of it, because if you place rabbits in the wrong cage and they don't have tattoos, you are not going to know exactly what rabbit you have in front of you. You know, I saw someone asked in the comments last week about tattooing and the tattoo kit. Get a tattoo kit. Tattooing your rabbits is important. I'm not going to recommend any specific brand. Okay, get a tattoo kit. Whichever one you decide to use, just ensure that you get both letters and numbers. Numbers alone are not going to be enough. Okay, you need some more combinations, because you're going to run out of numbers really quickly. So get letters and numbers, and I always recommend that you get at least a second set of numbers, because there are a lot of double digits that you may come across, and you're going to need more than one number 6 or more than one number 5 if you're doing 155 and things like that, right? We have even had instances where we've reached numbers like 333, 333. So without having to clamp the rabbit's ear more than once to get the 3 different digits, we have number 3 digits, so we can just load them up 333 and one clamp. It's up to you, right? It's a little more costly to get the extra digits and whatnot, but I find that it saves a lot of time and effort going forward. So guys, we're gonna leave it there for today. Again, I'm gonna say, get on board with the stock count survey. We need that information so that we can really push the industry forward, but we need to have structure. We need to know where we are so we can set goals for where we want to go. So reach out to me. You can leave it in the comment section, but make sure and leave your full contact information, or message me directly on WhatsApp. All my contact information is in the description below this video. So again guys, Sean Austin, my business partner Sean McLean, Sean's Rabbitry and Aquaponic Produce. We thank you guys for tuning in. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Give us a little like. If it's your first time pulling up with us, please hit that red subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the little bell next to it so you'll get notifications whenever we upload new content. So thanks again for tuning in, guys. See you all in the next video. Peace.